This is Newcap News with Nicole Stilger.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Well, members of the Lloydminster Public and Catholic School Divisions were in Regina today, speaking to the Ministry of Education about the concerns they have with the province possibly consolidating its 18 school boards. This follows a public consultation which happened last night, where many citizens asked questions about the options at hand. Gina Martin has the details.
It was a packed gymnasium at Jack Camp Community School as the public reviewed the governance options from Saskatchewan's Educational Review Report. Several outcomes are listed, one consolidating all of Saskatchewan's public school boards, including Lloydminster's schools on the Alberta side. Another, a regional model where there would be 4 boards of education accountable to the Saskatchewan Minister of Education. Either or, the LPSD feels this could be discriminatory to its schools and students.
It's just my perspective and our board's perspective at this point that if there was a governance model pursued in the city that was preferential towards a separate system in the sense that there was a local board and a local governance model and no presence in Lloydminster for public education, that would be discriminatory towards public school supporters.
MLA for Vermilion Lloydminster feels the same way.
The worry, of course, is if that gets moved to, either a large central board in Regina or, even regional boards, it's not as well understood. And so I think these concerns are very legitimate.
Another possible option, switching over to Alberta's education system. But even that could be a huge undertaking.
As just one example, the math streams are different in each province. Another one is English. English has a number of different credits and those sorts of things, right?
It is absolutely a long ways from our preferred state. We would like to stay in the governance model that we have in a way that allows us to work on a seamless approach to services in the city. But if the greater good was put at stake, then we have to look at those other options and decide at that point in time whether that makes sense for Lloydminster.
The public has until January 23rd to make their voice heard. They can do so by emailing the Saskatchewan Government. A report is due to the Education Minister by the end of January, and Robinson anticipates a decision sometime in the next month.
From my perspective, the earlier the better. We have a lot of folks that are very concerned about this, including myself, and I'd really like to see this resolved if possible.
Gina Martin, Newcap News.
The Lloydminster Family and Community Support Services, along with the City of Lloydminster, are helping support local nonprofits. This year, the FCSS will be giving $420,000 to nonprofits, which is comparable to 2016.
Last year we allocated about $422,000. We have seen an increase in recent years as there has been more funding made available to us from the province in 2016.
The FCSS says the programs funded really support the community's growth and preparation for adversity.
The programs that are funded through FCSS really help to build community and make our residents more resistant to crisis. By building stronger connections with community members, building resiliency skills, when crisis occurs, our residents are better prepared and more equipped to deal with those crises.
From the $420,000, $384,000 is being given to 20 different programs and $36,000 for another round of applications. In 2016, an estimated 17,000 people took advantage of the programs. Well, it's National Non-Smoking Week, and while smoking has decreased, it remains the #1 cause of lung cancer deaths, and many feel there's more that can be done to reverse this. Josh Ryan has the details in this week's Healthy Living.
National Non-Smoking Week highlights the changes in many communities in Canada, like Lloydminster.
In 1999, our smoking rates were over 25%, and now we're down around just under 15% as a national population, so pretty significant change.
However, more than 85% of lung cancer deaths are still related to tobacco use, putting pressure on the healthcare system.
Quitting smoking has numerous health benefits, and not only to the individual, it would save a lot of healthcare money and resources as well if more people were able to quit.
A new focus for those campaigning for smoking education is now around e-cigarettes.
We know that there's at least 3 known carcinogens in the vapor of e-cigarettes, and there's lots of other impact of using e-cigarettes on your health.
2 common prescriptions for trying to quit smoking are Champex and Zyban, and there are a variety of over-the-counter products.
And that can be in the form of gum, lozenges, patches, inhalers. There's all different kinds of stuff, and it's just patient specific and what the patient's preference is.
Other methods include substituting exercise and healthy eating in place of smoke breaks, but Malik says people must be mindful of how they encourage others to quit.
Nagging isn't always necessarily the best time to go about it. Make sure the person who's quitting smoking is ready to do it. They're going to have more success than when they're forced.
And having a week of national awareness is a good place for the conversation to start.
I think it's a conversation we need to have regularly in our community. And so there's lots of things at the community level that we can do all year long.
Josh Ryan, Newcap News.
For the first time in almost a decade, the Lloydminster RCMP is hosting a Regimental Ball. On April 8th, the RCMP will get together with members of the community at the formal event, with all proceeds going towards the Midwest Victim Services Program.
Midwest Victim Services is a fantastic organization, and we deal with them on a daily basis. They're a huge help to us. They help our victims, whether it be through the court process, through finding resources, a lot of different things. And we're just so thankful, and we appreciate and really rely on their services a lot.
There will be a dinner, auction, dance, live band, and will include unique RCMP history and heritage.
It's just a great experience. If you've never been to a regimental ball, they are a lot of fun. It's something that you don't get to do every day. It's a very unique experience. So, take the chance, get out there, I guess, give it a try. It is something that you will enjoy.
Well, still to come, Donald Trump is in Washington ahead of his inauguration tomorrow. More on the kickoff after the break. Well, Donald Trump has arrived in Washington on his historic journey to the White House. Bringing his combative style and unbound by tradition, he promises to shake up Washington. The first person elected president with no government or military experience. With more on the kickoff, CTV's Joy Malbin.
Crowding into the capital, they've come to celebrate from all over the country.
From the great state of Texas.
Oh, we love Texas! Come on. Yes, even some Canadians are big fans of Donald Trump's.
He's not a professional politician. He's a businessman. I think he's going to bring a whole different way of doing things.
A combative style, and after a contentious campaign, there are mixed emotions.
I'm not sure if Trump will speak for me as an African-American male.
Sweeping into Washington on a military jet, Trump arrives with historically low approval ratings as he's about to become the 45th president of the United States. Posting a picture of himself writing his inaugural address.
It's going to be a very personal and sincere statement about his vision for the country. He will discuss what it means to be an American, the challenges that we face.
At a luncheon, at his hotel, of course.
This is a gorgeous room. A total genius must have built this.
Trump thanked his supporters, boasting of a new era.
We have by far the highest IQ of any cabinet ever seen.
Laying a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery, followed by a Make America Great Again party. There's plenty of pomp and protesters here too, who don't approve of Trump's agenda.
No Trump!
And to keep everyone safe, 28,000 officers.
Do solemnly swear.
Some sworn in just this morning.
Aides say Trump will get down to business immediately, an aggressive agenda on day one. He's expected to use the Lincoln Bible to take the oath of office, sworn in before his biggest audience yet. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
Well, a new item at McDonald's Canada is causing quite the controversy. Thousands of Canadians now have a massive beef with the chain after it decided to serve products using nuts that are no longer sealed. Global's Megan Craig has more.
3.5-year-old Ellie Roth is like most children her age. On occasion, she's treated to a meal at McDonald's.
So we go every once in a while, and especially when traveling, because when you're traveling, you don't know the area, but at least you always knew that McDonald's was somewhere safe that you could take your kid.
Safe because before now, nuts were pre-packaged at McDonald's, something Ellie is severely allergic to, along with hundreds of other Canadians. Nonetheless, McDonald's has sparked a flurry of negative backlash after adding a Score McFlurry to its menu on Tuesday. Its first product to contain non-packaged peanuts or tree nuts that compromises the safety of all other food items because they may now come into contact with nuts.
They're saying it's because there's a demand for nut products, but I just don't understand how huge that demand could possibly be for one item on their menu.
I'm sure, a blow for people that had been loyal to McDonald's, but I'm assuming that McDonald's will have thought about that, right? And so they weighed the pluses and minuses of this decision, and they decided to proceed with it nonetheless.
In a statement from McDonald's, it says, as a guest-driven company, McDonald's Canada is constantly evolving our menu and introducing new items and new ingredients. We are making a significant change to our menu and our operational procedures as it relates to allergens.
McDonald's Canada says it has a long history of being sensitive to the needs of its guests with food allergies, and this time will be no different, which is why it's communicating the change inside its restaurants, drive-thrus, on its website, and through its mobile app.
Families frustrated with the move say they hope McDonald's will reconsider this decision.
It's just disappointing to have one more thing taken away from our kids.
Megan Craig, Global News.
The 2017 Titan, 5-year, 160,000-kilometer full coverage warranty. Best warranty in the business. Available at Nissan Lloydminster, your Titan Excellence dealer.
During calving season, there's an increased risk for disease for a cow-calf operation. Careful management of young calves can prevent them from getting sick. In this week's Agriculture Report, Gerard Lampow gets some important reminders from a vet and professor.
Scours is sort of our number one challenge that I'm sure everybody at some point has seen or dealt with. Some of the other major ones would be septicemia, which often those ones, they may look a lot like a severe case of scours.
Also topping the list is pneumonia and joint and navel infections. Dr. Claire Windier is a veterinarian and a professor at the University of Calgary. She says producers need a clear game plan ahead of calving season.
Vaccinating your cows, ensuring good colostrum management, providing bedding for those calves so they can stay warm and dry. All those things take planning ahead of time.
Dr. Windier says disease risk comes from a triad that includes the pathogen or bug, the host animal, the calf, and the environment, which also includes the weather.
Pathogen risk factors would be so you have a certain bug, bacteria or virus within your herd. And often a lot of the things that cause calf disease are there all the time. And so it's more the other two parts of the triad that we worry about. So the host risk factors are things like, does that calf not get enough colostrum? Was it a tough calving? Did it get born into a snowbank?
Dr. Windier says the biggest difference between herds that manage their calf health well and other herds is planning ahead, as it allows producers to mitigate all three risk factors.
The effort to wean healthy, heavy calves, that really gets started a long time before calving season and before these calves are getting sick. So thinking about all of the things between when you breed those cows till there's calves on the ground till weaning.
Dr. Windier also points out how your planning needs to be dynamic so that it can evolve as calving season unfolds.
And then planning as you go into your calving season, sort of what are our goals, and then from that thinking about what are our protocols, what's our approach.
Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.
This is Newcap Sports.
Well, the Vermilion Rage first stepped on the court as part of the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League in 2012. Now, nearly 5 years later, 5 members of the team are about to experience another first. Lance Phillips has more.
Las Vegas, best known for the Strip, Bellagio's dancing fountains, bright neon lights, pool parties, and of course, gambling. For the last 4 years, it's also been the home of the Sin City Box Classic Lacrosse Tournament. And this year, the tournament will feature some local talent. Vermilion Rage players Jordan Sears, Josh Yunker, Sheldon Vanderstoep, Greg Betts, and Brendan Peterson have all been invited to play. Just not with Vermilion, but rather New York City's Brooklyn Dodgers. As experienced lacrosse players, it will be a fabulous opportunity to experience the game in a different way, an American way.
Just to play with a different bunch of guys, and you know, our league's not that big. We kind of play the same teams all the time, so to play teams from the U.S. and it's just a whole different style down there.
Seeing the wide range of skill, honestly, there's going to be everywhere from Div 1, Div 2, Div 3 players, both from field and box lacrosse.
Well, we're going to be playing a mix of field players, so I'm not really used to that at all. So it'd be nice to see what kind of moves they have and like how they play in a box environment.
Go down and see other players, different ways of playing the sport. I mean, you're always going to learn something new. There's always room for learning.
Most of them are field lacrosse players, but they play inside, so they tend to bring their field lacrosse game with them, where box is a lot faster and a lot more aggressive.
The difference between the two games provides an opportunity for the Canadians to learn some new skills. The thought of it gives each player something different to look forward to, even the ones who aren't going.
It's good for lacrosse in our area, just the exposure that they'll get, and also they get to play with somebody different.
It's unreal. It's pretty cool to say that from a small town that we can do something this cool and have that experience. There's not many guys that have a chance to do a tournament with another team from the States.
I'm going to look forward to their ball handling. Being that they're a field background, they have a lot more swim moves. They try to get around the hit as much. It's not as close quarters.
Just the entire experience of going to Vegas with a purpose to play a sport like lacrosse and to represent my home team.
Outside the box, Las Vegas offers many other distractions. The tournament runs January 20th to 22nd. But the teammates are in the desert for 5 days. Plenty of time to have some fun away from the game.
I'd much rather have it as going down with my teammates than just a solo trip. Like the guys I'm going with too, they're just a fun bunch of guys too.
Oh, it's gonna be a good time. So,
well, I'm the youngest, so it'd be a fun bunch to go down with.
No, I probably can't say that on camera. No, no, it'll be fun. Just honestly going there to play the game.
Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports, Lloydminster.
It's not very often college athletes spend 5 years in the same program, but that's the case for two Lakeland College student athletes. Vincenzo Saporito and Arnett McKay are a rarity at Lakeland. Both are integral parts of the men's volleyball program, a program they've loved.
It was a great experience. Arnett stayed with me for the 5 years as well, so we've been kind of growing with this program, and Taylor was here, started it our first year as well.
Me and Vinny, I think, are some of the first people to ever go our 5 years, so that's kind of special. But yeah, I've enjoyed my experience, and hopefully we can be successful in this last semester here.
We've had a pretty close bond and a good relationship all 5 years, and it's awesome to have that kind of leadership and veteran presence for those young guys, and that's something that we don't normally get here at Lakeland.
As fifth-year players, both are in their final year of eligibility and have been heavily relied on in different ways.
With Arnett, it's his demeanor on the floor, it's his happy-go-lucky attitude, and not letting things get to him. He's pretty calm and cool. And then with Vincenzo, he's just bought in completely to Lakeland College, and I loved his time here, and he's able to really show those guys what it's like to be a wrestler as a student athlete.
Of course, with players like Vinny and Arnett, the legacy they leave lasts far beyond their years at Lakeland.
We're hoping that we pass our leadership on to the younger guys in the third years that are coming up.
We keep getting better recruits every year, so I do see the program building.
For them to stick around and be here for those 5 has been tremendous, and hopefully that it just repeats itself now with the young guys saying, like, man, I want to play 5 years here at Lakeland because I'm really enjoying my experience.